Hey guys, it's Allie, and in today's video, I wanted to compare two of the biggest 18-inch doll brands on the market, American Girl and Our Generation. If you are familiar at all with my channel, you know that I mainly collect American Girl dolls, and I have been collecting them for 8 years. My whole channel is based around American Girl dolls, but even though I don't showcase them a lot of accessories and furniture that I own are actually from Our Generation. I did make a video in partnership with them a few weeks ago where I opened up a ton of horse-related products by them, so make sure to check out that video if you want to see what Our Generation has to offer. I also have a few older videos that I've made reviewing Our Generation products, so check those out as well. I'll link them in the description, hopefully I remember. But today we are going to be comparing these two brands, not just in terms of prices, but we're going to be comparing the dolls, the accessories, the furniture, and the clothing, and kind of talk about the pros and cons of each and what one I personally prefer for each. So without further ado, let's get started. I'm going to start with what is probably the most important asset of being a doll collector, the dolls. Because you can have accessories, furniture, and clothing and all that, but if you don't have a doll to put it on, then what's the point? Unless you just like miniature photography. Nothing wrong with that. Here's a photo comparing an American Girl doll to an Our Generation doll. They are both 18-inch dolls, so there's no big difference there. They do, of course, look slightly different. I think one of the best things about Our Generation dolls compared to American Girl is the amount of diversity they have. You can just go to Our Generation's website, look at all the dolls. Not only do they have a huge selection available, but there is so much diversity when it comes to face molds, eye colors, freckles, hairstyles, and colors and textures. It's really impressive, and I really like it. It also kind of reminds me of when I collected Barbies back in the day, because for example, there would be a cheerleader doll, but they would make that doll come in different skin tones and different hair textures and things like that. So if you wanted a cheerleader doll, you can get one that looks more like you. And Our Generation is very similar. Like, there was this beekeeper doll that was really popular on Instagram a few years ago named Melina, and I always tried to find her at my Target, but I always found the one with the blonde hair at the Target. So there's different options if you want a doll with like the same kind of career. I think Our Generation dolls are meant to be kids, so it's not exactly a career, but hobby, I guess we could say. So that is something to note. In terms of articulation, which pretty much means movement, these dolls both have the same 5 points of articulation. They can rotate at the neck, they can move their arms, and both of their legs. But Our Generation does have a few dolls that are actually posable, and this is something American Girl has never done before. I have this doll over here, which Our Generation sent me. This isn't a paid review or anything. They're not sponsoring this video or anything. This is just my honest opinions, but I am a huge fan of both of these brands. But this doll is super cool because it's posable, and it's not like in other types of dolls, like Barbies, for example, where you can actually see the joint where the arm is moving. The arms are a little bit squishier than a standard Our Generation doll. There's probably some type of wire or something in it so you can bend it and it will hold its shape. It's not necessarily as flexible of a joint as something like a Barbie made to move body would be, but it allows you to do more positions with your doll, like have them put their hands in their lap or bend their knees a bit. And I think it's really unique. I think it's a very well executed feature, and for things like photography and stop motions, it definitely opens the realm of possibilities. And I'd love to see American Girl incorporate something like this in the future. It doesn't even make the dolls look weird. So big plus to Our Generation for those posable limbs. It's very, very cool and fun. I do also want to talk about the foot size. I'll talk about this more when it comes to clothing, but I did test some different types of American Girl shoes on an Our Generation doll and Our Generation shoes on an American Girl doll. Our Generation's feet are a little bit slimmer, so they can fit American Girl doll shoes. I tried some combat boots on the doll as well as some flats, and the doll fits them both. But as for American Girl dolls, I've owned this pair of rain boots for a few years and I cannot get it on the doll. Same with these cowboy boots, since I think American Girl's feet are a little bit wider. As for their hair, when I first unboxed an Our Generation doll, I was so shocked with how soft the hair was. It just was so soft. Even the horse that I own has super soft hair. And right out of the box with most American Girl dolls, I've also noticed really soft hair. A lot of my dolls have soft hair, but I do have a few, like my Caroline, who do have drier hair. I have owned my American Girl dolls for way longer, so I know a lot more about what their hair will be like long term. My Our Generation dolls, I haven't done as much with their hair, but still a month later after I've unboxed them, the hair is super soft and it's very great. Another thing to do with the dolls though, Our Generation dolls have rooted hair and American Girls have wigs. So that just pretty much means it's kind of like a human wig where it's a lot easier to like swap out the hair if you want to do customs. It's on tracks. Our Generation ones, it's right into the head, kind of like a Barbie doll. The final thing I'm going to talk about when it comes to comparing the dolls is probably the most important, and that is price. American Girl dolls are around $100. Unlike American Girl, Our Generation has their dolls at different price ranges depending on what they come with. Some basic dolls that just come with the doll and the outfit are about $24 US. Some of them will come with a pet, and those are closer to $30. There's this one doll that comes with a few accessories in a story, which is $34. There's this doll I actually have that Our Generation sent to me, and it comes with a full as well, and that is about $40. These dolls definitely range in price depending on what they come with, but in the end, no matter what doll you get, they are still cheaper than American Girl dolls. So in the end, who wins the battle of the dolls? I think it really just depends why you're looking for a doll and what you value in a doll. I personally am biased towards American Girl. I've been collecting it for years. I knew about American Girl before Our Generation, and I think I just prefer the look of the dolls, probably just because there's a lot bigger of a community that collects American Girl dolls than Our Generation dolls, so it's a lot more normal for me to see an American Girl doll. There isn't really a huge Our Generation community as far as I'm aware. However, if you are maybe looking to buy an 18-inch doll for somebody a bit younger and you don't really want to go ahead and spend $100 on an American Girl doll that the kid might ruin, I would recommend an Our Generation doll then, just as an intro or a test to see if they can handle taking care of the real American Girl doll. And maybe if your kid is young enough, they might not even realize that it's not an American Girl doll. So that's, I think, who I would recommend Our Generation dolls to, but in the end, they're both great doll lines, and I love both of them. Moving on to my favorite category, which is the accessory category. So both of these doll brands have different accessories ranging in different prices. American Girl ones, from what I've noticed, tend to be a bit more expensive, but they are slightly better quality and more detailed than the Our Generation ones. However, you get way more for your money with Our Generation accessories than American Girl ones. Our Generation accessories aren't bad either, like they're decent quality, they're not gonna break on you, and I'm gonna reveal my bias right here. I prefer Our Generation accessories, and I always have. The main thing that I collect accessory wise are food items. That's like really the only American Girl accessory I've bought in the past few years, but I do have a lot of Our Generation food as well, just because you get way more in sets. One of the first ever items I got from my American Girl dolls, I went to Florida and I went to Target, headed straight to the Our Generation section, and I got this like RV accessory set. I don't remember the exact name of it, but it was around, I think, $15, which is the standard price for these Our Generation accessory sets, and you got so much food, and I felt like I had everything I needed to start playing with my doll. If I were to get that much food from American Girl, it would probably be $50, honestly. I think it just depends what you value. If you want something that's super detailed and good for photos, I'd go with American Girl. If you're getting accessories for play, or honestly, I use them in photos too, I would recommend Our Generation. Now, I was going to do a few comparison photos of some versions of accessories that I have from both American Girl and Our Generation, but right before I started filming this video, the AGJitter Caitlin Grace actually posted a comparison on her story with polls about who did this accessory better, and I'll insert some of these polls here. I also have two of my own photos, food related of course, of both the accessories, so you can kind of get a feel for what one you like more. Even though American Girl did win most of these polls, Our Generation is not a bad alternative at all. I think it's just because American Girl ones are slightly more detailed and they are made to work more with American Girl dolls than Our Generation dolls, but once things like price come into play, I would definitely go with the Our Generation version. So Our Generation won the battle of the accessories. The next category is furniture. I actually don't own that much doll furniture. A lot of my furniture is made up of fun finds and DIYs, and I actually don't own American Girl furniture, so this point automatically goes to Our Generation. I own two main pieces of Our Generation furniture that I am absolutely obsessed with. I have this white scrollwork bed. I've had it for a few years and I absolutely love it. It's made of real metal, and I believe I bought it for around $40 from Target. And American Girl beds, I think there might be one for $125, but they definitely are closer to the $200 price range. So once again, yes, American Girl beds are more detailed, but Our Generation ones, it's still really good quality. You're saving a lot of money. A lot of Our Generation furniture comes in different colors and patterns too, so you can pick the one that will match your doll room or your style the best. most, and that means that they do come in colors like plain white, which is great to mix and match with different doll rooms because white just goes with everything. Even in my own personal room, I use white furniture for everything. So I absolutely love this bed, 10 out of 10 recommend. Another Our Generation furniture piece that I own is this table and chair set. I actually posted an opening video of it years ago on my YouTube channel. I did spray paint the chairs white just because it would blend in a bit more with my taste. I told you I love white furniture, but this table is amazing. It's got a bit of weight on the base, which is nice, and it's a plain white table, and it just goes well with everything. I love always setting up a little food scene on it in my dollhouse, and I absolutely love the set. And not only do you get the table and chairs, but it came with like placemats, cutlery, some vases, and it's a really cute set. American Girl makes sets with tables and chairs as well. They aren't as neutral as the Our Generation one, and they're also just way more expensive. So I strongly recommend this Our Generation set. I know this wasn't a full-on fair comparison as I do not really have American Girl furniture with me, but I just can't justify buying any American Girl furniture because it's just so expensive, and you can get the same thing from Our Generation, which is arguably trendier and fits with more doll rooms, and you're just paying less. It's awesome. So I'm gonna have to give the win to Our Generation here. The last category we're going to talk about is clothing. I will say right off the bat, I have a lot more experience with American Girl clothing. I do have one Our Generation dress I got because I really wanted the umbrella that it came with, and I do have the outfits that the dolls that Our Generation sent me came in. I actually have one of the button-down tops on my Joss doll Marlo right now to look like Cherry from Odd Eye Circle, Luna, Glass-Handed Dolls. If you're watching this, you know what I'm talking about. What I like about Our Generation clothing is, at least from the ones that I have experience with, nothing is stuck together. Some of my American Girl items, such as this pajama top, are kind of fake layered. So you'll see the straps of a tank top and then a top on top of it, but they're actually just one piece, not separate. And I really love that everything in Our Generation outfits are separate. It allows a lot more potential when it comes to things like mixing and matching, which I really like. In terms of quality, I do prefer the quality of American Girl clothing items, but Our Generation also has a really big collection of clothing items, and the quality isn't terrible or anything too. It's not just gonna break on you. Another thing to note though, as I said earlier, Our Generation shoes don't really fit American Girl dolls that well, at least the ones I've experienced. So with that in mind, when it comes to which brand is superior for clothing, I'm just gonna have to say, go with the brand of dolls that you collect. I like getting American Girl clothing because I know it's made to fit my American Girl doll, so it will fit their bodies a lot better. If I have an Our Generation doll, I will put her in Our Generation clothing because it fits that doll the best. But in the end, I'm honestly just gonna go with Etsy because it's a lot trendier than stuff that these brands make because they are made with kids in mind, and you're supporting small businesses, which is always amazing. If you guys found this video helpful, give it a thumbs up. Comment down below in each of these categories, dolls, accessories, furniture, and clothing, what brand do you think does it best, as well as any other comments you have about the video. I love engaging with you guys in the comments. Make sure you subscribe to my channel for more 18-inch doll videos, and of course, have an amazing day, and I will see you guys soon with a new video. Bye!